Welcome to Intuitive Real Talk, the podcast where I'm going to cut through all the BS. I'm going to light a fire under your spiritual ass, and I'm going to remind you your intuition isn't weird. It is your superpower. Hi, I'm Stephanie, a psychic medium, intuitive coach, animal communicator, paranormal expert. Yep, all the things intuitive. I'm also a professional truth dropper. So, what are we going to do here? We're going to dive into it all. Shadow work, spirit talk, intuitive gifts, and yep, even aliens, like a spiritual dumpster dive, but with purpose. There's going to be no gatekeeping, no fluff, no performative love and light bullshit, just raw, unfiltered conversations for people who know they came here to shake shit up. Let's get into it.
Hi there, and welcome to this episode about consciousness. Okay, I had someone reach out to me that asked, why do we come to this earth with amnesia if we are these higher beings and things like that? And right when she said to me, we come to this world with amnesia, I immediately heard, bullshit. What? Bullshit is what I heard multiple times. So I was like, okay, what does this mean? Walk me through it. That's what I'm telling my guides. And so essentially, this is what they said to me. I'm going to relay it the best that I can. We do not come here with amnesia. We are consciousness that chooses multi-timelines, dimensions, layers. And so it's like one consciousness that is split up in multi-dimensions. So that's why we have past, present, and future. It's similar to watching TV. I'm watching one channel, but I know all the other channels are going at the same time, right? So this is going to seem a little out there. Please stay with me. Please listen. And so when you think about it like that, what happens is our time is not real. It's not linear. And so because past, present, future is all running at the same time, that means your consciousness, even though it already went in this timeline, it is going in all the timelines at the same time. So why do we have wounds then? Because we are dealing with several experiences at the same time. And so when we get triggered, that's why it triggers more and we say it's ancestral and generational, because it is, but it's happening because everything is happening at the same time. But something in your present one is getting dinged either from this life or ancestral, which could be from your lineage or your past life or your future life. One part of your consciousness is having an experience right now that is causing you a wound that is allowing you in the present to heal it, disconnect it, so that all of them let that go. So that's why it's like you'll feel this deep release when you no longer get triggered by something, because it's not because you're coping or stuffing it down. It's because it no longer affects you. You've healed, you've learned the lesson. And so your consciousness needs to experience a whole bunch of things at once. Think about when someone is playing a video game. They can be playing with multiple players, right? But they can also have multiple players that they are running at the same time. And so when you think about consciousness, what happens is we don't come here with amnesia. We come here to have an experience, but one of our lives might be having something else happening at the same time. So that's why we always say you don't want to come back to another life. You don't want to be reincarnated, right? Or if you are, you hope that it's not to deal with the same crap that you didn't resolve in the first one. You are resolving it in one of the timelines, past, present, or future. And so it is getting resolved, but one of them needs to have the experience for the other one to do the healing for it. So it's almost like, okay, I have this experience, and now I have a wound, and then the other one is also feeling that energy and is healing from it, if that makes sense. So, but we can also choose to go into certain lineages so that this way our consciousness is not only healing those lineages or activating those lineages or whatever they're doing with that lineage, but you go into those lineages so you have a certain experience. So we don't come with amnesia. We're just running in all of these things at the same time, because 1960 is not 1960. 2023, 2025, everything is running at the same time. We were just taught that time was linear in this reality. But remember, you haven't just lived in this reality. It could be other galaxies, it could be other dimensions, you name it. We are light workers, otherwise there would be other dimensions, other realms. We wouldn't be able to speak to the dead. We wouldn't be able to do the things. And that's just because we are accessing everything at the same time if we choose to use our sixth sense. So when we come to this world, we're taught we have the 5 major senses, and that's what we need to rely on. We need to do with what we can physically see, hear, taste, touch, whatever. But our knowing, our gut reaction, which causes our feelings, it causes those emotions. Not for everyone. For some people, it could be just the knowing. It could be pictures. And so we all have different senses in each type of timeline, so that this way we're having different experiences. Like a lot of intuitives miss having superpowers that we only dream about now in 3D world. And that's not woo-woo. That is literally something that some people will crave. They might crave leaving this world because they're having an experience in another life in this one and it felt so good. Or people will just be like living in the now and obsessed with the 20s because that experience made such an impact on the consciousness, whether it was good or bad. And so we, as in this present moment, just know all of them are happening at the same time. That's why they talk about quantum. That's why they talk about timeline jumping. That's why they talk about multiple timelines. That's why they talk about energy, things like that. Like, would you, if you're old enough, if you were born in like the 70s or 80s like me, even think that we would do like cell phones as a computer? Hell no. You know what I mean? Like, I have watched, as I've grown up in the 70s, all of these massive technology type changes. We are energy technology beings, the same thing. If a computer is giving off a frequency or a tone, or, we can feel that. It might drain us. It might activate us. It might make us feel stronger. You name it. So why is it important to know your gifts? It's because this journey was meant to give you certain experiences, but you were also given certain tools to help with that experience, to either one, have the experience, or to heal it, or to go forward. Because consciousness is huge. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a soul, right? And so, do we even have a soul? That's up for debate. I believe we have a soul. I believe that our brains, our human brains, are disconnected, because this client also said to me, why do we have to bring our higher self down to get into the human shell? We don't bring it down at all. We choose whether or not we're going to lean on that tool, but we're already using our soul to make decisions, to make thoughts. Otherwise, how would we be thinking? How would we hear that voice in our head? Some people don't. How do we hear pictures? How do we see pictures in our brains? How do we dream? It's because we are consciousness. We are more than what we appear. We limit ourselves. If we tell ourselves we're sick, we're freaking sick. If we tell ourselves we're healing, we freaking heal. Because our consciousness determines what this avatar, how it responds, how it reacts, what it does, how it feels. And so allow yourself to tap into knowing who you are, because it's an additional tool. It is the main part of you. And so when you discount that, that could just mean that maybe you are, because we're all old souls, we're all part of source. It could mean that you're just a newer human. Like, you might not have had a lot of human experience, but it does not mean that you're not magical. You know what I mean? So a lot of us that are the knowing, we get it intuitively. We can see the shit. We are like, let's let this go. It's because we've done the human thing many times, because we're meant to help not only heal humanity, but to have the experiences that we need as our part for the collective and for source. So, if there was anything that I said that did not make sense, please leave a comment. I would love to dive into that more. I always try to do these in little bite sizes so that this way, hopefully, it makes sense and that you're not overwhelmed by too much information. But please feel free to pick my brain, and I cannot wait to see you next week.